everybody. Welcome to the Big Play Tailgate. It is phenomenal to get the band back together. Let me introduce the tremendous Chuck Booms, of course, one half of the best morning show I've ever heard. Kylie and Booms, good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, I don't remember the other guy, but I thought I was particularly good on that show. Yeah.
Three-time Pro Bowler Bob Golic, sir, good to see you.
Good to see you guys.
And
I thought you were both people.
Yes, I was. A lot of people don't know that Kylie wasn't a real person. It was a small hand.
Can I get to our other guest, please?
Yeah.
Garage Bear Throne, another three-time Pro Bowler, the top dog, who has a show, of course, here on Big Play, Hanford Dixon. What's up, dog?
Hey guys, how you doing?
What's up, dog?
We're doing good.
Well,
We're doing great.
I got to say this. There's one person that's really excited to see you guys back together again, and that is me, because I know how good you guys are together.
Well, we had a phenomenal long run on another platform, and we're here now. We're happy to be here. Probably should point out right out of the gate, by the way, there's going to be a lot of Browns talk today as they come off that debacle against the Cowboys. However, this is not just a Browns show. And as we move forward, the Guardians doing great things, making a run. The Monsters, of course, and my son were at the arena for that in the playoffs, was unbelievable. Cavaliers with a great run. So a lot to talk about.
I'm
and
a
of
big
course,
Sam Merrill guy, just so you know. That's my dude.
we'll talk that. We'll get Buckeyes, even though Bobby Carpenter has that covered.
Yeah.
We're going to be
Are we
talking
gonna
that.
do Notre Dame?
Well, yeah. After that,
Yeah.
well, are you still
Please
bragging?
no.
You
Please
still
no.
bragging?
No, I'm not bragging. I'm
You paid them $1.50,
It's got- is
$1.5
it-
million to get drilled.
Is it? I think it's lactose intolerance. To get
No, it's
high
actually the Northern Illinois fight song, I think.
Husky,
Chuck, are you over
husky,
the?
fight,
are you
fight,
over the?
fight.
What happened in the opener with the Browns?
No. Yeah, no. That was, I said this to Coach Williams, Greg Williams' show. That's another great show here on Big Play. I said, what the hell have they been doing since February? If that's the product,
Yeah.
I mean, they talk about this, and then there's mini camps and the Greenbrier and blah, 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 and team bonding and yada, yada. Did they practice? What did they do?
Well, they didn't
How
play
can you-
in the preseason.
Did
We'll
he
get-
say,
we'll-
"Well,
we'll-
hey,
we'll
I'm
get to
not
that.
there"? What do you expect to happen?
He's right. Most of the guys didn't play.
Well, here's-
and then the other question, and this is a great one for both you guys and Dog, especially the two football players, Tone. Why is it that Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey and all them play?
Right.
He plays them, Andy Reid in all three preseason games, and our guys are like, nah,
Yeah.
don't need the work.
You gotta get used to being hit. You can't just pussyfoot around out there. What's the collective bargaining agreement now? Eight plays.
Well, the pads in
Yeah,
practice,
with
yeah,
pads
that's
and
pretty
everything.
tough.
And they're gonna put that weird thing on your helmet so you don't get goofy.
Oh, the big giant thing?
Yeah,
It
the big
looks
giant
like they're
thing.
at a festival or
It
something.
looked like one of those things that you blow up and put it on your kid's
Yeah.
head.
Well, that's
But-
next year. They're going to be in a giant bounce house.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I think
nice.
that
It'll say Huntington.
Yeah.
Dog, did that bother you that they didn't want to put Deshaun out there in the preseason?
Well, I was going to say this. I don't have a problem with the helmet that they're wearing in practice because I think that's for a safety reason. And anytime we can make the game safer, I think we'll all agree with that. But it did upset me. Booms, I think you hit it right on the head. I mean, if Kansas City, who just won the Super Bowl, I mean, obviously Kansas City can play their guys, and we sit there and our guys, I mean, I'm not going to say they're too good to play, but it's just really, really upsetting because you see the first game, they come out and they basically lay an egg. And we laid an egg on all three phases, offense, defense, and special teams. And
Well, I don't know how you were, but when we play, I mean, we went 5.5 weeks of full contact. In fact, at one point, when the coaches noticed that some of us were throwing up and looked dehydrated, he'd go, "Okay, you know what? We're going to call after afternoon practice, and we're gonna do a night practice." So but you know what? You had to play.
Yeah.
You had to feel like it. I played every preseason game. As a matter of fact, with the starters, they tried to say that even number 4.
yeah.
The fourth one, they said, "Well, you're not going to play." I begged them to let me play half, at least a half, because I like getting the rust knocked off a little bit and
I think one of the
seeing
things-
Hanford standing on the sideline.
I think one of the things, guys, that I'm so excited about that they did do in preseason was they used Huntley, the quarterback, and got him really well versed in the Browns' new offense from Ken Dorsey so that he now can go back to John Harbaugh in Baltimore and go, I've got Cleveland's new offense for you, Coach, and good to be back.
I knew you were going
Tony.
there. Another thing that bothered me, Chuck, what team coming off a playoff appearance lowers the bar in expectations? And I'm sorry, but like a month leading up, and they had all the beat people buying in and delivering their message that this could take a while. This is going to don't expect much. This is going to take a while. What, you think the Steelers are doing that? Hey, don't expect much the first month.
Work in progress is my favorite thing, and which is a great saying, except where's the work? And where's the progress? I mean, work in progress.
I mean, we're talking. I know
thought
we're
that
going
was supposed to be training camp.
and I know we're going to talk, individually about some of the guys, especially Deshaun. But you've got a guy now for 3.5 years who is. We're wondering if he's going to play. He's got another thing going on.
Oh, it's a thing.
He's played. He's played injured, and I think they want to save those guys because they're. I mean, face it, you're paying them $230 million. You don't want to break it, but I just think that we're once again kind of in a situation of trying to build a team.
And not to make too much out of one loss, I understand it. And, down at Cincinnati, they have a routine of stumbling out of the gate, and they seem to recover. I get it. But, Dog, it was, as you said, all three phases. They were embarrassed at home. And moving forward, we don't know what we're going to get from Deshaun Watson.
Well, we really don't. And if you'd have told me that we were going to lose that ball game, I would have said you've lost your mind because we're, when you look at our football team, we're a team that usually play well at home, especially on defense. And like I said, we just didn't get it done in either phases of this football game. But, I'm not ready to give up on them yet. I mean, it's still early. We got to go to Jacksonville this week. We got to play. We got to play there. This is not. And again, I know you guys are going to get to all this, but this is not going to be an easy ball game for us either because Trevor Lawrence and those guys, they're a little bit upset because they lost and they should have won the game that they lost. But guys,
they were up 17-7 in Miami and blew it.
And figure this out.
And they're pissed.
And figure this out. We were going on everybody, and I'm sure we were talking about the AFC North, how strong the division was going to be, and look at it. I mean, everybody in the AFC North lost except you were talking about it earlier, the damn Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah. With 6 field goals.
It doesn't matter.
6 field goals. They didn't even sniff the end zone.
It doesn't matter.
But they had Boswell kicking it from the other 40.
Yeah.
And we got to watch some of those goofy kickoffs. I was so excited. I've never heard of what's a freaking landing area. I thought that was like at the airport.
Here,
I know.
Bob,
I know.
Huge.
It's a landing area. You got to put a green circle around it or a box around it.
They didn't want to copy the XFL completely. The XFL had it right. If it doesn't land in the landing area and you just kick it out of the end zone, it goes to the 40. There's got to be a penalty for kicking it too far. And so they adopted all the XFL's thing except said, when you kick it out of the end zone, it only goes to the 30. Everybody said, I'm just going to kick it out.
The first year of the XFL, I was one of the guys. And doing that. And they remember in the beginning.
Not on the field. You mean broadcast?
Yeah, on the field. Broadcast guy. Yeah, not a player.
Right. Well, I get your back.
I appreciate that. Yeah. No, but they used to have for kickoff, instead of a kickoff, they would have 2 guys lay down on their backs at about the 35, 40-yard line, and they put a ball right on the 50. And basically they'd blow a whistle, and you'd have to roll over and run over. And the first one to get the ball got to shoot.
Yeah. They put it at the 50, and they ran at each other.
It was like the exact opposite of what they're trying to do now.
Dog mentioned Trevor Lawrence. We're going to break down the Deshaun Trevor Lawrence comparison, both in college, obviously.
And arrests.
That's one-sided. Also, you bring back the game show, Sweeping the Nation. We're going to a break.
A header behind is coming, and Dog and Bob and Tony are going to play.
Cannot wait. Much more to come here on the Big Play Tailgate. We'll be right back. And back here on the Big Play Tailgate, Deshaun Watson talked about it in the first segment. Let's nail it down here. So this issue broke early in the week. By Wednesday, he had commented on it, I believe. By the end of the week, now it's going to the NFL. Now the accuser...
She's going
Says
with
video?
a video and 2 witnesses. And this is not the 25 or 27 other things that was where he
24.
would have a masseuse.
Right.
It just went up to 26 today. That he would meet a masseuse and then would get inappropriate. This is, because I used to say, dog, you and I talk about this. I'm like, he's a good-looking dude, and he's a quarterback of the Texans. Can he go to a bar in Houston and meet a chick? He could take a chick, a dude, and a goat home, and nobody would say a word.
Cabrillo.
Yeah, and so he actually he met. He didn't even meet this girl at the bar. He sent his bodyguards to go get her phone number, and then he kept calling her and all that. Now he goes over to the house, and I don't know if you guys have read the thing. It's rough. I mean, he says, can I use the bathroom? She says, yeah. He goes down the hall. It's like 10 minutes, and she thinks maybe something happened. And she goes farther down the hall, and he's already nude, laying on his stomach in her bed. Now, at what point do the people over in Berea go,
Allegedly.
maybe he has a mental problem?
Let me ask you a question, and this is not connected to the others. As you said, the delineation here is that she's not a masseuse.
Yes.
There's no way connect. Same attorney, Busby, right? Same
yeah.
guy. But here's my problem, or at least my question. 4 years before bringing this.
Yeah.
Why?
Major point.
Why the delay?
Because it's a sexual assault and battery, which is basically rape.
It's not a criminal charge, though, so it's a civil case. I'm just wondering why the wait.
I think she wanted to separate it from the.
That's a good point.
From the.
She doesn't want to because
group.
she's not a masseuse.
And and she didn't want to be sucked in and believed to be one of the same people as the other ones. And I think that she probably has an opportunity to. It'll just be her, and she's got the tape. And let me just say, men, as much as you like to turn on your camcorder,
never a good
don't.
idea.
Never a good idea.
Well, we don't. I don't know what the evidence is. What the video could be. It doesn't. She wasn't planning anything according to the story, so it's not like she set up a camera in her room.
Yeah,
Right.
and
So
I'm
it's not
concerned-
that. It's
Yeah.
not that. But Dog, what's your take on this whole thing?
I was happy you guys wasn't involving me in this in this whole conversation from where you guys were taking it. I said, "Oh no, I don't want any part of this."
Give us your experience.
I just think I just think Deshaun, obviously he's handling it. I think the best way he can right now because he's listening to his lawyers and they're going to let it all just play out with the commissioner and everything. And he's just trying to get ready for this game.
Well, I'm going to make a prediction.
Go ahead.
I'm
Yeah.
always good at this. You remember when the Browns were 7-4, and I said they'll lose the next 5 and be 7-9 with Brian Hoyer.
You remember that?
That was magic. That was magic, Bob. My prediction is this.
For many reasons.
Yes. This thing here is, from what I know, is something that the Browns were not aware of. When the Browns signed Watson, they said it's 24, whatever it is, and then they made it clear, is this it?
Yeah.
Is there anybody you can think of? Is there anything that could come forward? He said no and then signed his deal.
Right.
Here's the problem. If this is something that was never part of that, the Browns have an escape clause.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if
Conduct-
the league
conduct detrimental to the league,
and if
yeah.
the league suspends Watson again, which I'm feeling like it's going that way, these witnesses I hear are people that she told right after the event.
Yeah.
So if they determine that something bad went down there, which makes the league look bad, he'll be suspended again. But my prediction is the Browns will cut ties with him immediately
Well,
and save $96 million.
And you know what it comes down to too. Back in our day when we were making I think we were paid by the hour, right? Hanford, we got little bonuses around the holidays, but there was, even if you were a superstar, there was a point where they had to be able to depend on you. If you went out there and you got hurt every time you played or something else happened, eventually they say, well, they're unreliable. I mean, we can only do what they do if they're on the field. Now, I think that gets pushed a little bit because of the amount of money that they gave him. But when he gets to the point where he's paying his lawyers the entire salary, then that may be a point where it's undeniable.
As Booms pointed out, there's language in the contract here. That's just from a football standpoint. That's the issue. The issue is the language in the contract.
Yes.
Did you know this? Is it that this was pending? Because you didn't tell the Browns.
Because if he's doing I don't know her, I never met her, and
well, he did.
She's got,
he did. He's
she's got the phone calls. She's got texts. How much he used to blow up her phone.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. So
come on, it's AI.
I was just going to say, I think it's fair to say that it's only two people that know what happened. I mean, it's only two people that know what happened, him and her.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're the only two that know really what happened and what went down between the two of them.
Not necessarily, dog, and I'll tell you where. And,
Go ahead.
And for the
Go
most
ahead.
part,
Absolutely.
I agree that it's usually a he said, she said. These witnesses are going to be huge. If that's a neighbor,
were they there?
If that's somebody, and hold on, if that's a neighbor and she goes over and she's got a bruise on her cheek and her top's ripped and all this stuff, and they took pictures of that stuff. That's the stuff we don't know about, because then they're not in the bedroom, but if right after he leaves, she goes and shows somebody, look what just happened to me.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Trouble.
Well, see, I don't know this. Well, you're telling me something I don't know. I didn't read it. You read it.
Yeah,
I mean,
read
did he hit her or something?
That's what the battery is.
Okay. I didn't know.
Well, the
that.
battery could be any kind of touching.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not. It doesn't mean
forcibly removing clothes, throwing her on the bed. It's like
Dog, from a Browns Week 2 Jacksonville standpoint, and we got about 30 seconds here. Do the guys in the room care about this?
I think what they do as a team, because right now in their eyes, you're innocent until proven guilty. And
26 times?
Well, they're gonna. I'm talking about on this particular, on just this particular case right here, and obviously that's their quarterback right now. They got to rally. They got to rally behind him. And sure, I mean, guys, we don't in the locker room. Bob would tell you, we don't like all these distractions and everything, especially when we're trying to get ready to play a ball game. But all the concentration right now has to be on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Because, guys, we're 0-1 right now. We got to win a ball game, and that's what everybody's got to do.
We'll see how that plays out. All right, ahead or behind?
And you know what the topic is for our two distinguished Browns Hall of Famers?
What?
The top 30 Cleveland Browns of all time, according to Bleacher Report.
Hanford
and
Dixon.
I have them right here.
And we got it. When the BIGPLAY Tailgate continues, stick around.
Dixon.
And back here on the BIGPLAY Tailgate with the top dog, Hanford Dixon, Bob Golic, Chuck Booms, who's got you got a show an open house later, right? With that jacket. And I'm Tony Zarrella. It's good to be back here.
Tony,
I pulled the Century 21 patch off just before I got here.
Tony, I bit my tongue. So
sorry, Bob. You've played through pain before.
Yeah,
you can do
but
it.
not this kind.
Let's get to it, because I've missed this. I miss Kylie and Boom so much. I know a lot of people do. It was the best morning show I've ever heard. And the segment, it was just one of the moments.
Greatest of all time. I had her behind. As you know, it's time right now for the game show sweeping the nation. That's right, Cleveland. From San Diego to Kennebunkport, Maine, and from Seattle, Washington, down to Key West, where I'll be meeting up with Sam Merrill later as we practice foul shots in thongs. It's time for a header behind, and today it's a real treat, Tony. You are going to be your own team. The two great Cleveland Brown football players, Bob, you and the dog are a team.
Oh, okay.
All right?
Okay.
And so now I have the top 30 Cleveland Browns of all time, ranked 1 to 30.
Okay.
In the middle of the list, this will get Bob going, is the great Joe DeLamalure.
Oh.
Joe D.
Joe D.
Ranked 15th.
He's 15th. So
What a great guy.
What
too.
happens now, I'm going to give you a name. We'll start with Tony, and then you guys will go next. I'll give a name, and then I'll ask you, is that name ahead or behind of Joe DeLamalure?
Wow.
Because he's right in the middle at 15.
And ahead would be 1 through 14.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah, 1 through 14.
This is so much like Drew Carey.
Yeah.
Well, he stole their idea.
And
Yeah,
look at the prize money on the line.
I know,
Drew
really.
Carey, he owes his entire career to me. We'll do that on another show. All right.
Fire it up.
All right, here we go. Joe DeLamalure in the middle of this top 30 Browns of all time. Tony, is Marion Motley ahead or behind of Joe DeLamalure?
It's an easy one. Ahead.
That's correct.
Yes, that's it. Yeah. All right, out of the gate.
Bob,
Yes.
we're coming to you in Hanford.
Okay.
DeLamalure right in the middle at 15. Is the great Gene Hickerson ahead or behind of Joe DeLamalure?
I'm going to say ahead. What do you
I'm gonna
say?
say ahead,
I'm
too.
going to say ahead.
Yeah.
Too bad we don't have the buzzers installed
Mm-hmm.
yet.
Really?
Great player, but
Gene is 16.
Oh, my God. That's not fair.
Yeah.
That's not fair.
I know.
That's
Well,
not
we got to
fair.
do something about
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Call them up. We got to get this
I don't-
changed.
I don't know.
Don't
but
tell Joe D I said that.
I got tinglies after that one. Tony, a chance to go up.
by the way, we don't know the answers. We have not looked at
no,
this.
nobody
sheet, so-
knows. This has been, as Carson would say, on Funkin' Wagnall's porch since noon today. And I picked it up on the way in. All right. So you're up 1-0.
And a mayonnaise joke.
What are we
And a
playing?
mayonnaise
Till-
joke.
Till time runs out? I mean, what do I have to get to actually secure victory here?
Well, I mean,
It's a
if
five, or-
it becomes clear that it's 4-0, you know,
It's just,
then I think I may cheat for them is what's
Okay.
going to happen. All right, here we go.
right.
Joe DeLamalure, number 15, Tony, right in the middle of the list is Clay Matthews Jr. ahead or behind Joe D.
That's easy.
And this has nothing to do with used cars.
mhm.
His Pontiac dealership's gone, by the way. It was
I'm
in
gonna-
Euclid.
I'm going to say ahead.
He is ahead, not by much.
Clay Matthews is ahead of Joe DeLamalure?
Yeah, 12. Clay Matthews Jr., 12.
He should be in the hall, too.
You should be in the hall.
Okay. This is a good one for them. Watch the faces, in particular, one top dog as we continue on.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Top 30 Browns right here in my mitts. Joe DeLamalure, Joe D, the great Joe D, former Buffalo Bill, right in the middle at 15. Is Frank Minifield ahead or behind of Joe D?
I'm gonna make this easy for you. I think
Okay.
it's behind.
I'm going to go ahead. All right, behind.
He almost cost you the point, but Bob, you answered first, and I'm the judge, jury, and executioner. It is behind. He is number 20.
Okay.
Number 20 on the list. So now you can feel the excitement growing because now it's 2-1,
Yeah.
and it's time for me to get serious about stumping Zarrella. Top 30 Browns of all time right here. Joe D, Joe DeLamalure, number 15 in the middle of the list, is Brian Sipe. Number 17.
Mhm.
The great Brian Sipe.
Yeah, this
San
is-
Diego guy.
You give me the easy ones.
Yeah,
Behind.
Yeah, this is
Behind.
he is behind.
Yeah, no offense. I mean,
22. He's behind Minnie.
Yeah.
He's
okay.
behind Minnie. Number 22 on the
You know,
list.
a 3-1 lead's very, very,
3-1.
very
Bob,
dangerous.
now you gotta just
That's the
keep your-
Warriors.
you gotta get your team back in this thing again. Here we go.
lost one.
Top 30 of all time right here. Let me throw you a softball and get the guys back in. Joe DeLamalure is number 15. We've got the top 30 Browns of all time. Is our friend and former colleague and former Tailgate 19 alum, the great Bernie Kosar. Is Bernie Kosar ahead or behind of Joe DeLamalure?
Go ahead, Golic. I'll let you take that one.
Have you noticed Hanford slunking down in the chair?
I'm gonna
Especially
say
when it's his old
I'm
teammate.
gonna say behind.
Hanford, do you want to fix that? Or
He doesn't want
Yeah,
to. He doesn't want to touch.
You don't want to
Did
touch
you
it?
say fix it?
He's a quarterback, so quarterbacks they look a little. I'll say ahead.
He's ahead.
Now they've said both. I got to which you go.
Ahead
Well,
because
that way
he's
we
from the
win.
area. You
Huh?
know how they are.
You're
That way
going.
we
You're
win.
gonna go ahead.
We're gonna go ahead.
You should have stuck with behind.
You.
Yeah, I had. Bernie is number 18.
I thought you knew what you were talking about.
Number 18. So now we've got our man Ryan over here. Ryan, I believe 3-1. Is that it? Is that our score?
Yeah.
Well, this could almost put it away here.
I feel good.
This could, and if it's a best of 7, this may do it.
Oh, just get to it.
Joe DeLamalure in the middle is number 15. Is Hanford Dixon. Do you think I was not going to let you be uncomfortable? I did it to him.
All right.
Is Hanford Dixon ahead or behind?
Love you,
The
dog.
great Joe.
Love
I don't
you,
like
dog.
where this is going.
He's behind.
Did you see? Do you hear the way he did that?
Yeah, there was dismissive,
Dude,
dog.
like, oh God, he's behind.
You're talking about
Actually, I'm going to give the points to them on this. He's behind,
Yeah.
but he's ahead of Minifield.
That's
And
right.
that's a point
Thanks,
right
big
there.
dog. Thank you, dog.
That's fine.
Thank you.
you were
Thank
talking
thank
about.
you.
Now-
Dog, I love you, and you're one of the greats. Absolutely. But you're talking about a franchise. This is my thinking with multiple Hall of Famers. I mean, this is.
Well, notice I've stayed away from Jim Brown.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think-
yeah.
I mean,
As a matter of fact, it's your turn now, Bob. Ready?
Jim Brown ahead.
Ready? No, but this is for you and Hanford.
so it's 3-2.
Yeah, 3-2 now with that surprising ruling from the judge. Is Ozzie Newsome,
Oh,
the
God.
Wizard of Oz, is he ahead or behind?
Ahead.
Your buddy.
Ahead.
He is so far ahead.
Ahead.
He is not only so far ahead. Ready for this?
Yeah.
Oz is number 2.
My man. My
it's
man.
okay.
He's
Number-
ahead. That's,
We got a 3-3 game
that's
here.
my
It
dog.
is a 3-3 game. How much time do we have,
It's
Ryan?
break time.
None.
We
Break
gotta-
time. No, this is it. This
Okay.
is going to decide it right here. If you're incorrect, they'll have a chance to steal. Let's get to it. Joe DeLamalure right there at number 15.
I will never forget that, by the way.
Should we take a break and come back and finish?
No, I got to stump you.
You know,
All
you're
right. Is Bill Willis. You may know him as Bruce Willis's brother.
what you talking about?
Yeah, what you talking about, Willis? Could be related to Peyton Willis.
That's right.
Ahead or behind?
Behind.
And they'll have a chance to get it. I have no idea, by the way, and neither does the audience who Bill Willis is. He's number 13.
He's on the wall at the
Is he?
facility. Yes.
Yeah, he
He's
is.
a great player.
Yeah.
We're going to take a break. We'll finish it. They get a chance to steal when we come back?
Yeah, that's
All right,
it.
Big Play Tailgate.
Okay.
And back here on the Big Play Tailgate, it's so phenomenal to be back with the gang and on this platform and in these facilities, which are just downright spectacular here at the Burke Lakefront Airport. So come on down, check this out. You got to check it out. You can be here for the pregame parties on Sundays, and it's just a tremendous situation. And Dog, I love your laugh, but I hope you're not laughing after this. Back to ahead or behind.
This is it. It's
They get a
never gone
chance-
into overtime in the history,
get a chance to
Bob,
steal.
of ahead or behind. You have a chance to steal and win. Both of you walk out of here with the kitchen magnets.
Oh,
So this is really big. It's the 30 top Browns of all time. This is for the win. Joe DeLamalure, he's in the middle at 15. Is Greg Pruitt, Mr. Orange Pants and Brown Top himself. Man, he looked good in that, didn't he?
Mhm.
Is Greg Pruitt ahead or behind of Joe
how can you not
DeLamalure?
look good in orange and brown?
Yeah.
Come on,
Behind.
especially in fall.
Yeah,
Very nice.
kind of around the
He's
holiday.
behind.
He's behind.
He's behind.
He's behind.
He is behind.
We
He's
could call
number
him.
24, and the Cleveland Brown legends have done it. The inaugural ahead or behind. Tony. It reminds me of Idiot Pop Quiz when I was up 4-0 on General Hospital questions and lost 5-4.
That's a tough gag
That was
job
a
right
tough
there.
one.
I feel like
loss.
Draymond back in the day when the Cavaliers came back in the greatest comeback ever in the finals.
Was tremendous.
So-
Jim Brown, by the way, of course, was number one, and Ozzy, and then Paul Warfield, Otto Graham. But good list, great job, guys. And
Well,
Tony, better luck next week.
Thank you. Proud to be a contestant. Dog, we got
Joe
you
D,
for.
I'll say this real quick, not
Yeah.
to cut you off. Joe D has been on the. We've had him on.
Have you?
On the the Hand
Oh,
Prediction
how's he
show.
doing?
He's doing good. He's doing good. He, it's funny because you never know what Joe D's gonna say. I mean, you never know what he's gonna say, but he is just straight to the heart. He'll tell you exactly what's on his mind. Sorry, Tony. I don't mean to
No,
cut
sir. That's awesome.
He was a great lineman.
Browns, Jaguars, and Jaguars coming off the last-second loss to the Dolphins. Now they're home in a new stadium, or excuse me, a newly named stadium. They named it for this game after Trevor Lawrence. So
I don't even know the name of this thing anymore. Is it-
Everbank, but now it's Trevor Bank just for one game. Catchy,
yeah.
huh?
I like
If
it,
you need any
Trevor
comedic
Bank.
stylings from the Jaguars.
I like it. Well, I told Coach Williams, by the way, I was able to identify the angriest Browns fan in the city of Cleveland after the debacle against the Cowboys. It's the president of Huntington Bank, who just days earlier had signed a 20-year lease with the Browns. I must have thought, boy, I hope that ink
That's
isn't dry.
One game.
Hey, are we going?
Bad game,
Are
but
we
one game.
going with the vault? Is that
Where?
we're going down to the vault.
I don't think we're going with anything until they look better than they did last week. And, Doug, we have you for one more segment, so I'm just going to ask you this. So Trevor Lawrence there, Deshaun Watson here, 2 national title winners back-to-back at Clemson. Certainly in Jacksonville, they feel like they're going in the right direction with their guy, although I think there's more to be proven by him. But are we still going in the right direction with our guy?
I think we are. I think we have to believe that right now because if we're not, we're in trouble. I think one of the things I think they prepared themselves for this, meaning that's why we brought in Jameis to come into this football team, and that's why we got DTR also in that quarterback room. So we got 2 guys, and I think they were thinking they never thought that Watson could not get it done. I think they were thinking of possibility of him getting hurt or something and not being able to continue the regular season. I think that was their thoughts on this whole thing. But he's got to get better. I mean, there's no question about it. He's got to get better. He's got to play better. And everybody around him has to get better because obviously you guys know we brought in Jerry Jeudy. We gave him a ton of money, a guy that I think is definitely a threat, and obviously Amari Cooper. It's very unfortunate that we just lost Njoku. He's got a high ankle sprain, and Bob, you know as well as I do, those things you can
Nasty.
be back. Yeah, they're nasty.
I've given them to people.
Right. You could be
free of charge.
Yeah, exactly.
That was nice of you.
Bob, who'd you rather have, Trevor Lawrence or Deshaun Watson?
Right now, Trevor Lawrence. I hate to say this because you know
I'd rather
me.
have Joey Lawrence.
Oh man, do you remember some of the songs?
I do.
You know me. I'm a homer. For in all the years that we did shows together, I don't think I ever picked the other team. I always picked the Browns, even when we were like 1-32. And but this is, I mean, we've gotten to the point now. It's like I was saying before about being dependable. There's been so much that is broken down in the ability to have confidence in him, even when he went out there. And this is not a personal attack, but even when he went out of the field, there wasn't really this feeling that, I mean, face it, he had one pass to a Jeudy that was thrown beautifully for a touchdown, but.
I agree with you on the confidence thing because I think this is some that we watch the game different than Bob and Hanford would watch it, and one of the things that I always look at is when the pass goes 70 yards over a wide open receiver's head. I want to see body language. What I noticed, Bob, is that it seemed like the receivers as the Dallas game went along were doing the. That kind of stuff like, hey, dude, I'm open or whatever. And that's the first game of the year. Don't forget the boos were cascading down. I mean, really loud.
Early.
And
I'm sorry, Amari Cooper. He catches a couple early, and where'd he go? I mean,
Well,
it's just-
do not think, Dog and Bob and Tony, that for 1 second these receivers that are here, other than Judy, who wasn't here last year, isn't thinking to themselves, that 39-year-old guy that came off the couch last year made me look like Paul Warfield and was slinging it around in 300-yard game here, 300-yard game here. And now here's the guy that gets the $230 million guaranteed, and it's nowhere near in it. At one point, he was 1 of 11 for 4 yards. I didn't even play, and I almost tied him.
Does he have a future? Do you think? Do we trust him?
I don't.
I would love to see it happen, obviously because I'm a homer, but I don't see it happening. I mean, I'd rather see Jameis
about 20
Winston go in.
seconds.
Yeah, I just want to say this. I'm not going to put this whole thing on Deshaun. I think they all have to play better. I mean, look at our running game. I mean, we wasn't able to run the football. Our offensive line, even though we had a couple of tackles out, I mean, they didn't play well at all. I mean, gave up 6 sacks, numerous of pressures that they had on this guy.
I thought he was going to hand off to Micah Parsons.
And Mike. And if you watch the whole thing, what Michael Parsons did, he was able to go up and down the line,
He
decide
looked for a spot and went right
wherever he wanted to go.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I mean, everybody's got to take some responsibility.
And the coaches.
on that,
And
the
the
coaches.
There's no
yeah.
doubt about
You're
that.
right.
Yeah.
But it does start with him.
Yeah.
It really.
Absolutely.
They're going to feed off of
Absolutely.
him. Great to see you as always.
You
Mike.
guys, thanks for having me.
Woo-hoo.
Thank you. We'll be
good
watching
luck.
your show on
guys,
Big
good
Play.
luck
And
on,
for Dixon's
good luck
show.
on your show. And
Thanks, man.
you guys know you got one person that'll be watching. That's
Thank
me.
you, sir.
That's
Well,
me.
back at you.
We'll take it.
And
Hanford,
back at you as we come back on the
any
Big Play.
chance you
Chucky's
get me on that
keys
list?
to the game.
Yeah,
When we come
can't
back.
wait.
Stick around. You break
Can I
down-
do something real quick?
You can do whatever you want.
Yeah,
I
you're
may
the-
not
you're
have
the
been.
three-time Pro Bowler. I'm not.
I might not have been on the top 30 of the Browns players, but I was number 16 on the best mullets in the NFL. Well, it's not actually the NFL. Best mullets in sports.
That's impressive because now you're talking hockey.
Yammer Yager.
Yeah,
Actually, it was
that's what
number
I'm
I
one.
saying.
had 2 shots of it last night. I love drinking.
Oh, I know. It's very good.
Yeah.
Thick.
Hey,
It
it's
is
working
thick.
for him.
It's
He's
got to be chilled.
50
Yes.
years old and still
Can
playing
I say
hockey.
that I also had secretly hidden here with this list was the mullet list? And you ready? Not only can he feel proud of being 16, Joe DeLamalure wasn't even on top mullet.
Oh,
Bob never even got close.
he
I
just
think it's a great
expected.
point that you just brought.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that.
Breaking down this game, Browns
Yeah.
and Jaguars, and they're coming off the loss. Well, both are losses, but they're coming off a much tighter loss than the Browns had.
And they're an angry bunch, and they
well,
want
that
to
doesn't
win.
mean it.
And
What
a
does that
home,
mean?
And a home opener.
Does that? I'm going to
Yeah,
get back to you. I
'cause they
promise.
blew it.
Does that matter to NFL? They're an angry bunch.
Are you talking about the Jags?
The Jags are
Anybody.
angry because they had them beat. That's a
Well,
big.
it's okay, but week to week, you think they're still
No,
angry?
I mean when it comes down to an angry bunch, I mean that's unless you as a team feel like you were collectively screwed. But then no, I mean
I'm saying they're mad at themselves.
yeah,
They
if
let
they're-
it slip away. When I say angry, every football player,
Yeah.
he didn't play all those years and make all those Pro Bowls by being, excuse me, could I get to the quarterback?
Come on, man.
You don't mind if I slide through the center and get the.
and I
You know
don't
that-
want to be touched.
That
Yeah.
used to not hurt when
Yeah,
I did
you
that.
know what, man?
Yeah.
A lot of
So-
work went into
But
that.
no, as far as
Angry at themselves is what
Angry
I'm
at
saying.
themselves,
Yeah, when you've played in games, for crying out loud, the Browns are right there. It's icy. We can't kick a field goal. That
Yeah.
would have done it. And then the pick, and you're angry at yourselves because you let one get away.
I understand.
You combine that with it's their home opener.
Yeah.
That
and-
matters.
And I think you're going to have just a little extra motive. We're coming off of we got our asses kicked.
Yeah,
by,
debacle.
And that Monday morning they announced Watson's in trouble again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's my keys for the game, and I'm teeing it up to our All-Pro down there because the Jaguars defense.
Hamper's gone.
The Jaguars.
me.
The Jaguars defensive line. They have. Are you ready, guys? Only team in the NFL to have tandem outside rushers that had over 10 sacks each. And then they went and got themselves a Bob Golic, which you have to have. They got Armstead, the big tackle, to stick in the middle. So now you're talking about,
Yeah.
Bob, 2 outstanding edge guys and a monster in the middle. Now, they're weak at defensive back, and they got injuries, but what difference does that make when Watson, even when he had a clean pocket last week, he's running around like he doesn't? And, it's...
I'm sorry. Ronald Darby, the cornerback for the Jaguars, is still chasing Tyreek Hill. He gave up this one guy, he gave up 174 yards receiving singularly.
Yeah.
By himself. So, so you're right. They're not great in the secondary.
They're not great in the secondary, but if he whether he has time or doesn't have time, Bob, with these two great edge rushers and that great tackle, and their linebackers aren't bad either. But Tony's right. They're weak in the back. They can probably hide that if they can get to Watson. Mm-hmm. That's all I'm saying.
They'll disguise, obviously, the linebackers blitzing and change things around as far as alignment. But when you got the big guy in the middle, he's usually, and I speak from experience, you're usually the one that draws double teams and triple teams, and that allows the other guys to only be one-on-one with one of their blockers, which always made me wonder, then why are they getting paid so much? But I digress.
Do you, we don't get Nick Chubb back until week 5 at the earliest.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean necessarily, as great as he is, that the running game has to, plummet or continue. It was nothing against the Cowboys. Nothing.
It's going to be tough.
But my question to everybody is, and that's a fantastic point that nobody's really bringing up. I have the answer why there's no running game. It's not Nick, and I love Nick, and I can't wait till he's back. We don't have a running game because Ken Dorsey runs the spread. He runs the spread. If you saw Josh Allen these past few years, it's him standing back there with no running back, and they got 5 wide. And the thing that makes no sense is now we're running that, but Stefanski's calling the plays. That's antithetical to what he always did. He runs the Gary Kubiak offense. How many of us last year when Flacco came in and looked great said, oh, that's how the offense is supposed to look? Everybody in Cleveland was talking about that's what Kevin wants to run. Play action and roll that guy out in the pocket.
Hey, let's fire him.
Yeah.
That was great.
Let's not bring back Joe, which was dumb.
And even when Chubb comes back, that kind of recovery from that thing is, they talk about it being a physical comeback, but mentally too, you've got to be able to realize that you're going to go back into the fray, and you're going to have people falling on your legs, and so there's always going to be some hesitancy.
Well, if we all three remember how gruesome that hit was at Pittsburgh, you don't think Nick does?
Yeah.
He's the one that had to feel it. So
you're saying he's angry?
Yes, he's angry.
He's going to be angry. A lot of angry people.
Again, I think this will all come down. We'll know early on, as we did with Micah Parsons running in the backfield like he was starting on our offense. We're going to know early on, as Bob said, if that big tackle in the middle is tying up what's the better part of our line now, right? Because it's Bitonio and our tackles are out.
Yeah.
So, although I think they're coming back. I did hear that Conklin, but they're moving him to left tackle.
Yeah, so they're both banged up. The two tackles have the knee issues. But you look, excuses, no. Cowboys were playing with a guy who had never played center before. Okay, a rookie tackle.
I like them.
So,
I
bet you do.
Yeah, Bob likes that.
In effect, them. I want to save a little extra time for the final segment because I want to talk about the stadium issue. I want to talk about Tyreek Hill. I want to talk about Baker Mayfield. I want to talk about Tua and another concussion. And we can relate. We got a spectacular player who's out there after 5 concussions. That and more when Big Play Tailgate rolls on right after this. I think it's considered a lazy topic Baker's flourishing down in Tampa, and what if he had stayed? Because I get it. People say, well, it wasn't working here. Whatever. You could say the Browns threw him under the bus to get out of it. Like, you know what? He's going to play through the pain, not be successful. There'll be no outcry. We get rid of him. We don't pay him the big $30 million or whatever. Right?
Right, but now you have and this doesn't even, Bob, have to be on a head or behind list. The top-rated quarterback QBR rating for Week 1 was clearly Baker Mayfield, 4 touchdowns, 24 of 30, almost 300 yards through the air. And the worst, of course, was Watson, which was like a 41.
Right.
Bob, do you wish, hindsight, you wish they had kept Baker Mayfield?
Well, and that's the direction I was going to go. I think more than any, I mean, we can talk about X's and O's and rankings and stuff, but one of the biggest things here is a guy that was loyal to this team. He went out there, he played with injuries. He broke the bone in his shoulder. He had all these injuries, and he went back out there. And then, of course, afterwards, people go, well, he shouldn't have played hurt. Well, you know what? He went out there, and he did it for the team. I mean, he was good. And what's he get in return for that? He gets adios.
Well, courage is one thing. It's wonderful, but production is another.
But if you...
Do you think he'd have this production if he had stayed?
Not with the kind of injuries and kind of adjustments and changes that always happen, but who knows? I mean, it may have been more salad of.
Stefanski won with him, Bob, that first year when they go to the playoffs. It's COVID. They win big at Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And by the way, this Baker Mayfield that we're seeing now is the same Baker that had you 5 minutes from going to the AFC Championship game.
Yeah.
And they just on the radio over at 92.3 The Apologists, they all they ever talk about is like, oh, you had to get rid of him, you had to blah, blah, blah. It's a joke. There was no reason to get rid of him. And I'll say this, I have a good friend down in Tampa, and a former agent of mine lives in Tampa. Every time Baker's on the radio down there, somebody calls up that lives in Cleveland, it's now in Florida, and he has never uttered a bad word about Cleveland. He loves his city. He talks about his wife misses it. He misses the people.
I miss the commercials.
Oh, yeah.
When he was in the stadium.
He
Yeah.
returned the boots to Alice Cooper at the Rock.
It's tremendous.
Yeah.
Staying with quarterbacks, Tua, another concussion. And, there's an issue. And it's not the hot button issue it was a few years ago because people are like, oh, you know what? They have time to recover. We'll put him back out there. Do you agree with that? At what point do you stop playing?
I think you've got. Well, first off, it's weird because if you saw the tackle, Hamlin came running up and Tua ran right into his chest. And I was more worried about the fact that Hamlin was getting hit in the heart.
Right.
Again,
I thought that too.
He bopped up and then Tua just laid there doing some kind of breakdancing thing.
That's the concern that I've heard. There was a neurologist on something this morning as I was getting dressed and putting on my Century 21 blazer. I wonder if I can get into Canton with this. Is that the last 2 concussions is where he's laid on the ground and got the stiff and whatever. And that's an indication that the last one was so bad it wasn't healed. So that's now, then you can have the next one can be life or death. And that's, they're going to have that talk. But
we never talked about that.
Yeah,
we never talked about it. It was, in fact, most of the time we didn't tell anybody we had a concussion.
You probably
in
didn't
fact,
heal.
we never had a concussion.
Yeah, no,
we got
your bell rung.
We got our bell rung.
You didn't heal. I know. It's Denzel Ward comes back. He says, I met with specialists. They said it healed. It's not like the old days. He brought that up. I understand. It doesn't mean it's not cumulative, and it's going to be more prone and there's long-term damage. The stadium, the city officials, Cleveland city officials met with the Haslam officials this past week. They're trying to make it happen. Do they stay here or not? What's your gut feeling?
I was totally against them leaving until I saw the video of the dome out at Brook Park, and I would give that thing an Academy Award. That video was so great. That is one of the most unique looking buildings. You have to do it. You have to do it. Haslam has to do it. He owns the land. He's doing exactly what the guy that owned the Kroenke, that owned the Rams, before he moved it. He bought that big piece of land that mysteriously he tore down Hollywood Park and put up SoFi Stadium. And I think you have to do it.
I mean, conceptually, it's neat because I've been out to Boston, saw Gillette, and of course you have attached to it, you have retail, you have restaurants, you have a bowling alley,
hotels,
and then so it's more than just a football experience. Then you got SoFi, and they go $5 to $6 billion for that thing, and they made it big. I know that's what they want to do with the IX Center, with Brook Park, but have you guys looked at the traffic what it's going to be like
Yeah,
with
they have
people
to
trying
Well,
to
there's so
take
much
off.
in play when it comes to that.
Why not here? Why not at Brook or at Burke Lakefront?
Because we have it for big play. However, so let's take it.
Yeah.
But
We'll be in the
could do
lake.
We could do it in a plane.
you made a good point, though, Bob. So,
Again?
yeah, many.
Yes.
So you were drafted by the Patriots.
Yes,
And
I was.
long before they built up what they built up around Gillette. It was Schaefer Stadium way back in the day, not downtown Boston.
Right.
Okay? It's the NFL. Kansas City's not downtown.
Foxborough.
Yes. Excuse me. You don't have to be downtown in the NFL.
SoFi isn't anywhere near it. It's
understand.
close to LAX. That's it.
I understand. But this city has been with this team through a lot of
Thick and
downs,
thin, yeah.
a lot of downs. And, now you're going to build this, incredible facility and have restaurants and all this stuff. Come on, man.
But
The city doesn't benefit if you take them out.
But and that's part of it. And two, plus remember this town, as long as I've lived here, has been East Side, West Side. There's always the two sides. Now West Side's going to get a stadium, and all the people on the East Side are going to have to drive. Take tents and stuff just so they can make it to a game on time.
If I knew, let me put this to you guys.
We got 30
if
seconds.
If we could tear down this stadium, but the Browns had to play at the Horseshoe for a couple years.
Cool. And then you have
put
it here.
And you put the dome here and did all that.
Like
would you be
Indianapolis.
okay
Yes.
with that? But would the Browns fans be okay playing at the Shoe for a
2
couple
years. 2 years. Bears fans had to go to Champaign for 2 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, while they redid Soldier
Okay,
Field.
then I would
So-
be for that.
Right. And then like Indianapolis, which is a spectacular setting.
yeah,
And
Lucas
everything's
Oil.
right there. We got to go. Gentlemen, great to see you.
Yeah.
We're out of the
Let's go.
gate in style.
We go, boom.
See you next
Nice
week
job.
on Big Play Tailgate.